This person loves to find ways to make you smile. They love your giggle. They love your laugh. They love to make you blush. It feels like you have a very similar sense of humor, a very unique sense of humor, perhaps a very dark sense of humor. And so this person is utilizing laughter and humor and the experience of you kind of moving into that sort of electrified space where your strong personality, the surface level mask that you wear for the world, that calm, cool, collected exterior crumbles, and there's almost like an innocence or a mischievousness that comes forth from within you. This is like the type of person that wants to play footsie with you under the table, wants to whisper naughty things in your ear in like a very formal setting in a very crowded place, just to see you blush, just to kind of like feel that sense of like the crackle between the two of you, of these little kind of like hidden experiences, these little inside jokes, these very kind of like special and unique points of connection with one another. We also have I let my fears get the best of me. So this person has kind of stumbled into a place of sort of like, okay, things are going really, really well, but maybe this is too good to be true. Is there a catch here? Is this going to be something where I'm going to discover, like, I let my heart kind of go full force forward into the future with this person. I connect with them on so many levels, and then it turns out that I was the only one building in the direction of that dream. And the more that I open up about myself, about who I am as a unique individual, is this going to be something that's going to repel them, is going to cause them to run in the other direction? So they may need some kind of like reassurances from you at this point in time, something that lets them know, little indicators, little hints, little winks, little clues, something that it feels like isn't necessarily like boldly, directly stating to them, sort of like, yeah, I like the momentum that we have, keep doing what you're doing, but something that provides a reassurance that like you like their style, you like where it is that they are sort of taking this stage of your connection with one another. Again, these kind of like little, almost like secretive experiences, this kind of like inside jokes, these little flirtations, this little bit of humor, ways in which they are able to kind of just look at you in a particular way, and there's like an understanding that is exchanged between you, or ways in which they kind of like lean in close and sort of encourage you as well to step out of the energy of like formality or being very put together, and kind of get into that space where, you're just being very authentically yourself, not concerned with kind of like, sort of how that looks to anyone else, but something that is very much like unique shared moments with one another. They need a little bit of a nudge or a reassurance that like you like what they're putting down, you like how they're approaching this, that this aspect of their personality or this like quirkiness as part of their love language, that this is something that you enjoy and that you want to experience more of. We also have you inspire me to do better. Yeah, so this is somebody that whatever they've shown you up to this point in time of themselves, especially if it's been in kind of like a fun, flirty stage of your connection with one another, there's much more to this person than that. This is not just someone that's going to be silly. They can be very serious and very poetic and very passionate. They can make very, very grand gestures, very grandiose presentations, as far as like matters of the heart are concerned. This is the type of person that would write a song for you. This is the type of person that would, display that affection very publicly for like the world to see. This is somebody that if they were, creatively inclined, like if they're an artist, for example, don't be surprised if like they make a work of art, like a painting, and it's of you, or something that is inspired by your experiences, something that is like a tribute to you. This is somebody that it feels like they have many different aspects to themselves. They're a lover at heart, they're a romantic at heart, but that might be something that is not so obviously recognized in kind of how they move through the world. And yet they feel this very special bond and very special connection between the two of you, where you've given them the indicators that it is safe to kind of let this kind of version of themselves out into the open, that you are resonating with that you're liking that you're exchanging with them on that equal level. And so even though there may be kind of like some fears that have sort of got them in this place where they could be feeling a little self-conscious at this point, or like, I don't know, should I continue forth? Do you like this? Do you still want more? You want to see kind of what else there is in terms of the ways in which I can kind of like show devotion or connect with you on like a very unique and special level, just beyond kind of the laughs and the giggles and kind of almost like that best friend sort of energy. There is a deeper layer to this person that is screaming to come to the surface, or to get that kind of cue from you that like, okay, it's time to open that door, and to have that invitation to kind of step in further into this person's inner sanctum, or to let their capacity for emotions and romance, to kind of let that be known, let that have a voice, let that surface in a variety of ways. I have so much to tell you. Yeah, so it feels like this person has like written love poems to you. This is somebody that has so many different speeches planned in their head, as far as like whenever the moment is right and they're going to tell you that they love you for the first time, or kind of like making more of a stable commitment with one another. They've thought of these scenarios from so many different angles, and it feels like this is somebody that they don't normally let themselves get kind of like off into that dreamy energy, because it feels like in past connections or like earlier times in their life, that was something that this person was almost told, like, you have your head in the clouds, or you're too much of a dreamer. That idea of like being a romantic, that might have been something that people misunderstood, or previous romantic partners kind of like took advantage of, so they kind of tucked that away within the shadow of themselves. And yet you've awakened that, you've coaxed that to the surface. And so this is somebody that's like believing in love again, thanks to you, or like this dreamy love, not just like puppy love and that silliness and kind of all the laughter that you can have with one another, but something that it's kind of like that afterglow beyond that sense of like a very kind of like healthy experience of just that kind of like mutual connection, that shared humor, those points of contact that like, I understand you beyond the surface. I understand the way that your mind works. I understand your perspectives. I understand the things that kind of like bring you joy, and the things that may be so just kind of like horrifying that you have no other choice but to laugh to kind of just get through these things. Like beyond all of that, there is a sense of almost like a deep-seated relief that they have finally connected with someone that just understands them, that gets them. And so there's a hopefulness with this as well. Like if I keep showing more of myself, if I keep allowing myself to kind of lift beyond this place of almost like love's got to be practical, or romances have to make sense, or, I got to keep maybe this very intense, or, an aspect of their personality that people could be like, hey, that's a little bit much, or previous romantic connections could have been like, yeah, that's just, you're too silly. You need to be more serious. It might have been something that was almost like a turnoff to people. It might have been good at first, and then was kind of one of the things that were listed among sort of the reasons that an ex chose to part ways with them. Like you're not serious. I can't tell when you're serious or when you're joking. You don't have your priorities straight. You're someone that's just you're too free spirited. Like all of that in their past had kind of caused them to sort of push that aspect of themselves away, or to delay making that known in terms of romance and partnership. And yet with you, there's almost this kind of like sense of safety that like, no, this is welcome here. This is something which is celebrated as well. And so it's opening up their perceptions to all sorts of different horizons as far as what else is possible between the two of you, different sorts of way that the two of you can connect moving forward, that might satisfy parts of even their shadow that they had deemed sort of like too much or unlovable, and had tried at kind of with great effort to sort of keep hidden from other people, or to delay these things being sort of like presented out in the open. it's like a sillier side of their personality, or something where, again, kind of like laughter is sort of part of their love language. That might have been something that was kind of like a little bit further into the dating experience, and then they let their guard down and like, okay, now I'm going to usher in this period of time where you get to meet this facet of me, you get to meet this part of me, and we'll see if you stick around. And a lot of people didn't. That was like the breaking point. Then they lost interest. But with you, it's like, no, we're connecting. This is something that you're liking. This is something that I'm liking, this kind of playfulness between the two of us. And so it's encouraging this person to sort of think in terms of bigger picture concepts here, longer term, like, okay, this is a key element of the foundation between the two of us. That's not just kind of the serious business of the ways in which, we connect in a practical level, or, you kind of like calm my inner child, but this is also something where we can, also kind of have a substantial experience in the direction of like not taking things so seriously. Looking at matters of the heart and love and romance is something that should be a very joyous, a very free, a very easy experience. And you're showing that to them at this particular point in time, that your energy is open to this kind of exchange with them. We also have a checkup on you through social media. Yeah, so this person definitely has your picture saved on their phone. They definitely are like your biggest fan on social media. They're checking out your profile often. And it's almost bringing to mind the idea of somebody. I'm getting this like vision in my mind's eyes. Somebody's just sitting there and they're like, just with these kind of like doughy eyes, and just kind of like, wow, this person is just so immersed in this, just all they can do is sigh. All they can do is sort of like feel this kind of cloud of bliss sort of coming up from within them when they think of you, when they are, in your energy, when they ground themselves into the reality, of this kind of more sort of lighthearted or free-spirited aspect of your connection that has been emphasized at this point in time. It feels like, and that they want to continue to kind of incorporate that in what you have with one another. It's kind of like you've reached a new level within them where it's like, this person really is perfect. This person really is my dream come to life. This person really is someone that I feel very fortunate to have connected with, that has taken an interest in me, and that I am like encouraged to show up even as this version of myself. So this is definitely something where, even if there are feelings that are still needing to be kind of confessed or expressed in a more sort of direct manner, this is something that you should be able to tell from this person's energy, or even just from, this is somebody that almost like when you look at them, they melt, and you should be able to tell that. It feels like from the eye contact of somebody who's just like, wow, they're just amazed. They're just like, they are in your energy, and it's a feeling of heaven, of like absolute bliss. We also have, it's hard for me to trust people. Yeah, so it feels like aspects of this personality within this person, like in the past, had been sort of judged or kind of were loved at first, and then again it was something where previous partners were like, yeah, I was just sort of tolerating that, or it felt good at the beginning, but then I thought you'd sort of evolve beyond this part of yourself. I thought maybe it was just kind of like using humor to deflect tension, but then I see that that's like a part of you, that you're somebody that's very lighthearted, very mischievous, almost with like a childlike sense of wonder about them, like a playfulness about this person, which could be something that is a big paradox compared to like how they move through the world ordinarily. This person may appear to be a very serious person, a very stoic person, a very just kind of like stone-faced, and they mean business, and somebody that is, they have kind of like a cordial energy, almost what might seem to be like a cold energy to people that don't know them very well, or people kind of professionally speaking, or even this could be somebody that it's kind of like not everybody's their friend. There's like a lot of acquaintances, and the term friend is something which few people have. This is somebody that kind of like puts people in these appropriate boxes of like, they're not just giving themselves freely to everyone. Not everybody has access to kind of like the real them. And yet in this situation with you, there's a sense of freedom that they have to kind of express these aspects of themselves and let them be kind of witnessed within the context of this romantic relationship, this romantic connection, what you have with one another at this point. This is almost like, okay, let me share this part of myself with you. And they're getting all the signals. They're getting that kind of like positive reinforcement that this aspect of them is celebrated by you, that this aspect of them is welcome, that this aspect of them is actually something that you also have been looking for in a partner, or that you value in a person. So it is encouraging this person to kind of like bring you in closer to their world, bring you in closer to their reality, bring you in closer to, even seeing beyond that kind of lighthearted energy, because that's just one end of the spectrum of this person's love language. It feels like this is somebody that is very articulate in multiple love languages. And so there's a lot that they want to kind of share with you. There's a lot more that they want to express. There are juicier parts of them, or things that will really surprise you, things that will really sort of outdo even the most romantic person you might have dated in the past. This person is capable of so much more. They are so creative when it comes to almost like the idea of something where they really believe in love, like in a classical sense. This is somebody, that sees love as like a muse. They move with love. Even if they give off like a cold or calm or collected energy ordinarily, this is somebody that always moves very intentionally from the heart space. They lead with love in all manner of speaking. And in this situation with you, it's almost like a different part of them is allowed to be kind of brought to the surface, within that experience of how they have chosen to sort of move through their life. Maybe always, or at least at this point, kind of going forward. And so this is something that is helping them to kind of like not be so tense in terms of feeling like there's parts of me that need to be hidden. There's parts of myself that other people have rejected in the past. And so I in turn continue to reject those things. It's like this person's offering up, it's almost like Page of Pentacles energy. They're offering up these little bits of themselves, like their quirkiness, a very intelligent type of humor. This person could definitely be like a sapiosexual. And so even the humor is very kind of like genius, and it's something where it's like you're connecting with them on that level, and this is like checking off all the right boxes for them. Yeah, we also have, I know we are soulmates. So this person does see you as their perfect match, as the person that they want to continue to, win you over. They want to continue to use smiles and joy and laughter as like a key ingredient in the experiences that you have with one another, in the tone that is set in terms of like where they want to emphasize efforts moving forward. This is not somebody that is kind of like avoidant in the sense of like avoiding, difficult parts of self. This is somebody that feels like they could stand by you and weather storms, but this is also somebody that is like it's very important to them to look on the bright side of things. They may have been through very tough circumstances in the past, and it's kind of like humor is what got me through that. That is what kept my heart intact, is being able to kind of, look even at the challenges of life and just laugh, to kind of look at the irony of different experiences, and rather than hold things in a place of bitterness, to instead transcend into that place of liberation through laughter. And so this is somebody, it feels like, that wants to continue to bring those lighthearted energies in, so that even if there are challenges between the two of you and kind of, bridging any gaps and distance between the two of you, or anything else where there may be like fears that have surfaced or will surface as you get closer and closer with one another, as you let yourselves be seen as you are, as you sort of transcend wounds from past heartbreaks and become very present in the now in which you're building with one another. This person wants to make sure, like, their big contribution is that we always move eventually together towards the bright side. This is the type of person that doesn't want like the sun to set on an argument. This is the type of person that, they are not so full of ego that they won't be humble enough to apologize. This is the type of person that if you're, having a bad day, or you're in some kind of like a moody energy, they're going to want to soften that with like a playful aspect of themselves, kind of tease out a smile from you. This is somebody that feels that like laughter really is the best medicine, person. And so that's a very important quality for them, is to have those experiences with one another where it's not just the passion, and it's not just like, yeah, we have a lot in common. We spend time well with one another. We have very aligned goals in a practical sense, but there's also this energy of wanting to be very unbridled with you, very just kind of like free, very authentic, like have almost an innocence with you, that it feels like happens when there are these moments and these exchanges of like humor and flirting and playfulness. This is something that this is this person's kind of like favorite aspect of this connection at this point in time, that you're kind of in this zone with one another. So definitely expect kind of like more of that energy from this person, more kind of like displays of that, of sort of the ways in which they are, you know, very intent on kind of like giving you a good experience, helping you to feel good, helping you to kind of move beyond stress and pressure, and to just relax into the energy of a smile. But then that is just kind of a doorway. That's a threshold. That's a gatekeeper to these deeper aspects of this person, where then it's kind of like, yeah, and in addition to this, by the way, you know, love is my muse, and I love you, and so you have become my muse. So, you know, here are these ways in which I will celebrate you in kind of more of a classical romantic sense. This is like love letters. This is, you know, love poems. This is love songs. This is paintings. This is, you know, grand declarations in a public sense that aren't just kind of like a status update on social media. Like, yeah, I'm in a relationship. This is my significant other, or, you know, posting a lot of pictures for the world to see. But these are things that make it very well known. Like, yeah, this is the person that I choose, and I celebrate this person, that this is somebody that I deeply adore. This is the center of my world. This is the definition of love to me. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.